Long players, welcome to the Long Play Listening Party, the show where we go deep on local music, writing, recording, inspiration, gear, whatever else sounds good to us. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. Whole crew's here. Nate Holt, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How's everybody?
Outstanding. Royce the Wizard Diamond, what's up?
Doing well.
Excellent. And we are joined this week by CJ Calhoun, aka Bonzo Madrid. We are revisiting his album Worry, which is a personal favorite of mine. CJ's based out of Lawrence, right?
Yes.
And this album came out a couple years ago. And can't wait to listen to it with you. How are you, CJ?
Man, I'm doing good. I think I got this recording thing figured out. So feeling relieved now.
Excellent. So, I mean, to get us started, I'm meeting you for the first time, really. Tell us a little bit about your musical journey, where you've been, and how you arrived at this album, Worry.
I guess I would say, I don't know, I played in bands. That's all I ever wanted to do. So I played in bands as early as I could remember. And as far as entering into this particular album, I played in a band with some of my friends called Cowboy Indian Bear for a number of years. And sort of as that was winding down, I started writing this album. Not really sure where that was going to head. You know, I wasn't really sure whether we were going to be a band or not. So I was just kind of writing an album. I don't know. I had all kinds of concepts I was trying to achieve at that point in time, and then it ended up just being sort of like this. I just got obsessed with it and dug into the songs, you know. But yeah, it ended up just being mostly me in my bedroom at the time, just plucking away at it. At some point, it changed from maybe these are demos for a band to I'm just going to make this album.
Were you always writing for the band that you were coming from?
Yeah, me. I think a couple of you guys know Marty Hillard, who was my bandmate in Cowboy, and so we kind of shared the writing duties in that band. But I sang quite a bit. I would say it was about half and half on the first album, and on the second album, I did a little more. Marty, I think, hit a writer's block there for a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. Are these songs like in the same vein as that band?
I don't know. That's hard for me to separate, like, because like what I identify as that band personally is like I feel like we came into ourselves with our second album, and that one was like I wrote a lot of that one. So it feels the same to me because it was all like it's all just me trying some stuff sort of deal, you know. It's hard for me to separate those things. And I had, you know, like Bo, who was the drummer of Cowboy, played the drums on Worry. Caitlin sang harmonies all over it. You know, there's all types of, they're all over this album too. So I'd say it's a little more. It doesn't feel like the album definitely doesn't feel like a band to me, so it's different in that manner. But maybe that's because like I'm probably just biased, you know, because I knew that making it.
Well, is it a little more tailored to your vision or your specific, you know, how you wanted the songs to turn out, versus maybe more of a group input?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. That was, gosh, it's sort of hard to remember because that was so long ago now. Like coming, like I think I started writing for it in like I probably started in like 2014. I think it didn't come out until I can't remember. I think it came out in 2016.
Yeah, I've got it up. It was November 4, 2016.
Okay, that's yeah. So I mean, that's when you think about what a different world we lived in 2014.
Yeah, I was, there's a lot. I hear a lot of different influences, which are really, really cool. That I'm sure get into as we start listening to. But I will be hearing it. Like I've listened through some of it, but I can't believe I hadn't heard it, man.
I know. I felt the same way.
I was like, I can't believe this is so came
Yeah,
out
I mean,
so long ago.
I never really like I played a couple shows like with some of the Cowboy guys and Danny, my friend Danny Bowersox, who mixed it, and he sort of joined. Whoa, I gotta turn that down.
It's working though. That's great.
Yeah,
That is a good sign. We can hear it. We played a few shows together in various forms, but I never really was able to have like a consistent live band to play with it. And also like at the specific time that I was working on, like as I was finishing the album, I was also going through some turbulent stuff life-wise, and I just couldn't stomach coming out of how much we put into Cowboy. The idea of like starting over, I just couldn't stomach it. It was like I don't have any energy. So I mean, it's definitely my fault if people that were involved in music in Lawrence didn't.
Oh no, it's, no, man. I'm not saying that. I just I really enjoyed what I was able to hear, and so being able to listen to it through its entirety right now, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it. I really love it.
One of the fun things about doing the shows, I mean, like, or one of the great things about music in 2021, for whatever we've lost in terms of, albums or physical products maybe, or liner notes, we've gained in that there's so much incredible stuff that's just a click away. And there's always, it's never too late to discover any of it, right? Like some people will be hearing this album for the first time and might fall in love with it like I did, and it's not too late, it's right there, and you can grab it, you can listen to it, and that's one of the things that's cool about music right now.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like debating whether to put this on to refresh myself with it, and then I just kind of wanted to go, because it's been probably, I don't know, a solid year at least since I put it on, and I kind of just want to go in blinded to it. It's different than I remembered already, which is fun.
Did you play? I know you said Bo played drums, but did you play most of the other instruments?
Yeah, pretty much. In the final, I got to a point with it where, like, going into this album, a big thing that I was trying to do, I don't really know the best way to describe it, but like I was trying to write something really cinematic. Like everything I was trying to do was like like to capture there's certain scenes in movies where like everything kind of speeds up, and I don't know, it almost makes you feel like you're gonna have, I don't know, I guess the various types of montages that you see in movies would be the best bet, whether it's the unhappy montages or the happy, like here's the part where you're zooming through the happy times of a relationship or whatever,
Right.
So I was sort of going for that, and it was just, I got just kind of obsessed about it, and did end up playing a ton of layers on stuff, just trying to push and pull the nuances of it a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
What did you learn from that process?
Boy, not much, man. I'd never do that again. I don't know. Like, I think I drove myself a little nuts on it. Where I was going with that, sorry, I got lost, was I got to a point where I just couldn't hear the things objectively anymore, because I had just gotten so deep in them all, and so just kind of turned them over to Danny, and was like, man, I need you to, I can't even tell what's good or bad here anymore. I need you to help clean this up and mix it. And if you feel like, I trust him immensely musically. So I was like, if you feel like we need to add some guitar here or there. So he definitely added some stuff, and he also just encouraged me. He was like, man, I think it's pretty good. Like, I think it's a pretty good record.
Yeah. So did you like make the decisions, like on this song in particular, how you did the vocals, you know,
Yeah.
and just the way that it was produced? I mean, this is got a really fucking great vibe to it. And I love the way that the vocals were recorded, or however you did. So, I'm just curious, like, what point this song was at, and you're like, I don't know what to do with it.
Oh, you know, I think no, this one I was pretty happy with. This was pretty. I mean, he definitely, in terms of like the hard panned vocals and the what. That was definitely from the get-go with me. I really liked the idea of having two vocals just hard panned, one fairly distorted, and it was just kind of
yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of it still felt modern, but it also had kind of an old rock feel to it. Like not even an old rock, like an old soul feel. I remember like trying to just record that. Knowing that I was going to try and record that. I just listened to like. You know, like Sam Cooke, Otis, like just as much old soul, and just so I was like, all right, I gotta just let go. I had the house to myself that night, and I was like, I just gotta let go and just sing as hard as I can, and we'll just see if it sounds good or not. You know?
That's what's up.
Sometimes you just gotta, I don't know, just gotta let go like that.
The empty house matters.
Yes, it
For sure.
does. I wish it didn't.
Sure.
Like, I wish I was more comfortable. Yeah, but
No, it's no, man. Yeah, man. It's like that. It's. I get used to certain things, but yeah, if I really want to try something, or you know, if I'm listening to stuff over and over and over again, I'm like,
yeah.
Is this driving anybody else crazy?
Yeah. Well, I think Royce asked earlier if he felt like I learned anything from this, and I think one thing recording this that I definitely just got myself to the point during this period of time, which I don't feel like I am anymore, but I got myself to the point where I was really comfortable just trying shit, and you know, I would just kind of get a little weird with it, and then it was like, okay, there's something there, and then flush it out. And that's something I've always kind of struggled with. The way my brain works, I always sort of need like to know what I'm going to be doing, and I was able to kind of break that a little bit on this because I was just working on it so much. I mean, and I was just by myself in the house a lot on it. So, but yeah, I'd like to get. That was a hard place for me to get to. I'd love to be able to get back to it, but
For sure.
it also took a level of obsession that I think made me like fairly unbalanced as a human. So I don't know, you know. I'm in a better place with the rest of my life than I was when I made this. Maybe I don't like that. Oh man, this is my favorite track on the record.
Man,
So,
I was gonna.
let's give it a good
I-
listen.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask about this one.
This one and yeah, I guess I like a few of them, but this is definitely one of my favorites.
You got a mind to repair you. Your heart's just a spike will impale you. I got gold threads I could sell you. Cut just enough to tie around you. Run through the streets, pants down round your knees. Run across the window that's streaming. Like a cat on the run over the pavement. Run through the chills of beginning. Hold it to room full of
TJ, what do you remember about writing, recording this piece? I mean, it was kind of one process, right?
Did you say one process or a long process?
I said one process, like they blended together. It wasn't like you wrote and then recorded. It was kind of all a mix, right?
Oh yeah, each song. Yeah, definitely. I've never really wrote lyrics and then tried to like apply music to them. It's always sort of been a little bit the other way around, or at the very least like found something that was interesting to me musically, even if it was just a verse or something, and started there to build out. This one, I think if I remember right on this particular song, it was like I just had that weird melody that bow, 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 that carries throughout the whole song, and I couldn't really find much that I had one part that I liked over it, and I ended up going back and stealing like the chorus of another demo that I wrote and put it in there and kind of like layered them on top of each other. I don't know. That song's always just been a baby of mine, and I couldn't get it quite figured out until Bo absolutely just nailed that drum part. And it just sets that song on its way.
How some of it was programmed though. What were you using? Some of the stuff is electronically.
Yeah.
You programmed, right?
Yeah, it was. What's the name of that? Reason. That's what I was using on that.
Hell yeah, then.
It was like, Reason 4, I think.
And the last Reason I used was like 3. I've told the story but a lot of times, but yeah. And then I got 6 and I had no idea how to use it, so I sold it. 3 was like the last Reason I really like knew how to get around in, and then.
Yeah,
but
that's
they've
the
got
only
some
one I can
cool
do.
instruments though, man. And some of that stuff sounds really good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think a lot of that is probably down to, the programming I did, but I couldn't clean up definitely Danny cleaning up the mix makes a huge difference. Because I don't have any technical know-how in terms of mixing particularly, but.
Well, and so the live drums over it, were kick-ass, and I love how it goes from that to this acoustic, and it's got it reminds me of Tom York a whole lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that melodic line, the melody that you're singing. And sort of the tone of the voice a little bit.
Yeah, that falsetto.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I was thinking the same thing about the sequencing. I mean, and it does. I tend to listen to this just front to back every time. I don't really pick out songs so it all kind of blurs together in my mind. And in fact, I tend to listen to the EP as well, so it's a kind of a longer cycle typically when I listen. But the sequencing is really, there's diverse, very different sounds are just sitting next to each other, but it totally makes sense in this book.
I'm really, that's something that's really important to me. Like I'm really proud of how the sequencing worked out on here. That's something I struggle with is, I really like listening to albums. I love the long format. I love seeing how, I really love bringing as many different looks to the table musically as I can, and then figuring out how to, it's all me, and it all came from this similar time period, so it's just about figuring out how to puzzle piece it together into the right presentation. I don't know. I've just always liked bands or artists that did that. That was definitely something with this album I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, which is kind of like on that EP, some of those songs I didn't feel like were worse than the stuff on here. It was just this sequence was just right, and I just didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Royce, did you listen ahead tonight, or are you hearing this for the first time?
I listened to all of this album. I didn't listen to the EP.
Okay, cool. How did it strike you?
How did the album strike me?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I've been sleeping, for sure. Like, this is a huge record, and I didn't know anything about it. I feel like I should have been up on it, you know what I mean? I'm just like really impressed. I mean, it's very well done.
Yeah, I love those drums right there, man. And I mean, we'll hear it again. Is there like a reprise? Does this one have like a second part? Like, and were you trying to tie the, like, is there a theme going on, or?
I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry.
I feel like does this make another this?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I do use this part in another. It might have been Remedios. What's the song? I think. Yeah, I'm a little confused because I split. I believe. So the song called Remedios that I think was maybe 2 tracks ago.
Yeah.
Part of the vocal out of that and part of the vocal out of this, I pulled out of a previous song that I was working on and could never get to, or just could never get to a good place, I should say. So I sort of mixed them up. They very much feel like a pair together, like, to me. So I mix them up sometimes.
Okay.
I was working on them at the same time.
Okay.
So I hadn't realized that, but that makes the sequencing like even cooler, because then you're building a pyramid, right? So the middle song of the 9-track album is the acoustic one we just heard, and then on either side of it, you've got these sister songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of mirrors itself.
Yeah, I definitely viewed this as like the start of the second side. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed trying to, like, I did a lot of, I don't know if this is the right, I just have absolutely no technical knowledge when it comes to music, so I probably won't use the right term, but like I almost like a round, like I really enjoyed finding a couple phrases that I could build around, because I put a lot of thought into like I really was trying to have no fluff lyrically. Like I was trying to not have just it's sort of easy to just fill in lines sometimes when you're writing a lot. It's like, well, this'll fit and it'll get me where I want to go. You know what I mean? And I was really trying to not allow myself to do that at all. So there's not a ton of lyrics on the songs, but when I would find what I wanted, I would build just around that. And so I was doing a lot of sort of round type things on here.
Well, the way that they're recorded and how you arrange them all, man, is really amazing.
Thanks, man. It was just all in a Fast Track Ultra in my bedroom. So.
See, it's just that's incredible, man. That like it sounds, it sounds so good, and it holds up. Like I feel like I'm listening to something that could have come out like this week or whatever.
That's amazing.
Just I don't know.
Yeah, I still feel really proud of it. I would love to, honestly, I would love to put a band together and play these songs, but it's just not particularly practical to do that for a 5-year-old album.
Well, you know what? You get like 2 new ones, and then you've got your reason right there.
That's true. I've got a another album that's sort of stuck in the mixing process now too.
Are you mixing that one?
No. I was working on it. Did any of you guys know Joel Martin at all? He played in.
I know the name.
I was working on it with him, and then he moved out to Philadelphia. So then it took me a little while to just get the tracks back, and having Danny help me clean that up too.
And will that be a Bonzo Madrid album?
Yeah. I think so.
Let's listen a little bit. This is one of my favorites.
They're being quiet, they're being mindful, and they're paying attention to the cow. And so the energy totally shifted in this temple upon the entering of the cow. Because we had to watch out for her.
One has to accept a world
It takes some patience, it takes some compassion, it takes some
bound together
mindfulness to get the
one
cow.
sublime and everlasting existence. It is in this eternal circle of life that the cow, the giver of life, has earned the distinction of being the world's most sacred animal.
I came up with a headstrong live. So he hit me back and now my lips are split. And the blood's on my tongue. And the sweat in my mouth shut. I hit my knees. Zechariah, please how did you unhinge your jaws? Or can I speak?
Do you want to say anything about the bit of dialogue that we heard in there? I mean, is that
Bruise in my feet.
kind of random, or what's the intent there?
Honestly, that was Danny, which I love. I think that's great. It was just that huge gap in between that song that I felt like needed to be that length, but we tried a number of different things as far as different like instrumentation ideas in there, and they all seemed like filler. And then that he found that clip somewhere, and it's just perfect.
Did it have a personal meaning to you?
Yeah, well, the song itself is, I don't know. There's a ton of just. I was raised very religious. There's a lot of religious undertones on the album. This particular one, Golden Bovine, is like, I don't know. I was sort of relating, like the story of like the golden calf in the Bible, which is like where the entire idea of like not worshiping false idols comes from. In that religion. At this point, I had realized how just essentially where I had gotten with music was that like it's all I cared about, it's all I loved, and I had become such an, I don't know, I was just out of gas, I guess, as a person. Like I was being selfish, and like you're on tour and you spend half of the year in a bar. When you get close to 30, it's just like, what am I doing?
I hear you.
It was just based around that. It was like I don't know, a lot of this album is like me grappling with how much of my self-identity at that point in time was wrapped up in what I am as a musician. This is who I am. I have to be good at this. This is what I've always wanted to be, and it's me grappling with, okay, well, you're making songs that you're proud of and you think are good, but you're still not particularly happy, so now what? Like if this is all you've been working towards, and you got there, you know, like I'm really proud of this music, but I was the most unhappy I've ever been. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's deep.
so yeah, that song in particular is, I feel like he chose just the right clip in terms of it's not exactly, I think the stuff he was choosing was like sort of like Hinduism based, I feel like. Whereas where I was coming from, it was, you know, my sort of Christian background as I was raised. But it, you know, it still puts you in the same headspace of thinking of this as a, you know, this idol essentially.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
you're
kind
worshiping
of
something.
it's kind of perfect in that it makes the message kind of more universal, right?
Yeah. This song absolutely was. This was, I believe, the first song that I wrote for this album, and this was definitely originally planned to be a cowboy song. I wrote this for the band,
Oh, okay.
and then I liked a few parts of it too much, and I liked Bo's drumming on it too much to not like make it work within this album.
Yeah, this is.
So, did he brought in obviously the kind of drum and bass influence of the drums, but did you have that kind of had that idea going on before that, or is that kind of his influence?
No, that's definitely. I mean, he's one of those dude. Like, you have some people that you're just on the same wavelength, and
Yeah.
we just are. He just definitely nailed what I was going for.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty certain that I had recorded the bass. I don't think I re-recorded the bass after he did drums. Like, I think he just put it on here and it matched. So I was like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, this is killer.
Yeah, this song to me is a shame that we never got to play this one live. This one was a jam at a
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so hard.
I feel like it's also maybe the only like really fully embracing rock moment on the record.
I think that's right.
Like at least an aggressive rock record moment. Gosh. Yeah, I should have listened to this before. Now it's just tripping me out thinking about my younger, like just the version of me that wrote this album. I just want to give him just pat him on the back.
Yeah, the pacing or the sequencing is really nice.
I just mean pat the old me on the back and be like, hey, it's gonna be okay, man. I promise. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. I hear you there. Give him some encouragement, tell him he made a really good record.
Yeah, I really think, I know this is like, I don't know, not to sound like too much of a bummer, but when I listen to this album, really what I hear is like me using, like I had a quarter tank of gas in the gas tank and I was like, fuck it, I'm flooring it. Is what this feels like. Like I just used everything I had in the tank on my way to being really burnt out for about four years or so, where I just couldn't. I don't know.
My family's bones surrounding me. And every leaf a growing pains.
It sounds like you put a lot, obviously you put a lot of hard work and effort
Yeah, I
into
almost
it.
like I don't want to talk during this song. It feels. I mean, talk about being raised religious. It feels like talking in church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the last verse of this song, I just love it. I'm proud of it. Yeah.
I'm glad you could say that. I think as artists, sometimes we're too reluctant to talk about the parts of our own work that we're proud of or that we love. And
Yeah.
you know why? If there's not something about your own work that you love, why do it?
Yeah, and also like you're putting. I mean, unless I think if I was really, I don't know, like you're putting a lot into it. Like you're putting a lot of yourself into it. You're putting time in. Like there's got to be something there that you feel good about.
So that was Worry. In a couple minutes, we'll hear the 5-song EP that comes with it on Bandcamp. If you buy it on Bandcamp, which I highly recommend, that is, I'm going to triple check it here, just bonzomadrid.bandcamp.com, bonzomadrid.bandcamp.com. And that's a perfect segue for me to ask. I mean, Bonzo Madrid, I get the reference. I've read my Orson Scott Card.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you choose that, or what does that mean to you?
Oh man, sort of. Well, I mean, one, I just thought it sounded cool. So
it does.
That. Well, I don't know. That was my favorite book for a very long time. I love. I mean, one of the songs on there is very much based on like Ender as a character. I just love those characters. But I don't know, that was also, like I said, I was really, God, I feel like I just keep being a bummer and I'm trying to find a way around it and I can't.
It's all right. Just, whatever it is, just say it.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
I guess the real truth is that was that character literally died because of his own pride. And this was a period of time where I was like, man, I am just full of, like, I seem to only be defined by my own pride and selfishness, which, to be fair, I was a late 20s dude. So, like, at that point in time, I viewed that as a fault, when in reality, I think most late 20s dudes probably are. Like, I just hadn't been through that yet. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was just struggling grappling with the idea that I was not, I don't know, like, I think really a lot of this album is a lot, and I guess maybe I would probably put the second Cowboy album in this too, which is, I guess, a bummer that it took me this long to really work it out. But it took me 2 albums to figure it out. But I guess figuring out, you have this idea of who you are as a person, right? But like, you're not just automatically that. It takes work to become that. And at some point, I just had a few moments of realization where it's like, oh, okay, I need to. I'm not who I thought I was necessarily. As far as like, I need to work to become a better person.
I hear you.
I can relate to that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for not making me just feel like,
No,
oh man, what a bummer.
I mean, it's
Oh, no, not at all.
man,
You're in the right camp for sure.
yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about the songs on the EP. They were done at the same time, and it was basically a sequencing thing.
All of them, but this one, which is why I chose to lead with this one, because it sort of is different. This one really never got. So there was the last EP that Cowboy did. We basically had our van break down, and we just recorded a bunch of random things while we were stuck waiting for a ride to get back home. And this was, I had programmed these drums and had like written that kind of do 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 riff to it. and then had Bo record the live drums to it, all while we were just doing that. And then it just kind of fell by the wayside, and there always felt like there was something there, you know, so I just ended up going back and finishing it out. So it was actually made, I think, after the album. Like, this is probably the newest song of all of the batches in terms of getting finished, even though it was started earlier than any of them. But yeah, this is the only one that we'll hear that is like a separate.
Oh, separate, yeah. Does the EP have a name?
What's that?
Does the EP have a name, title?
No, I don't think so. If it does, I believe it was just sort of I just did it as like a bonus beat. Like, I felt like this music was good enough to like let people hear, and
it sounds like it fit. Like, it would fit on the record if you decided to expand the core record. Like there would probably be spots for all of these.
Yeah, they make sense sound wise.
Yeah.
I just really love that sequencing on. I don't know. I also love like a good, Worry is so heavy lyrically that I felt like putting people through more than 30-ish minutes of that was like asking a lot. Because it's just like, good lord, at some point when you're listening to really heavy stuff, it just becomes like, all right, dude, chill. I can't do this anymore. Because I love really, kind of down and depressing music, but it's still like, okay, 30 minutes and then much past that, I will just get depressed. So gotta chill.
Were those all your vocals on that last track?
Yeah, I did some like pitch shift stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, which was fun. We did get to play that song live, and that was a fun thing to try and figure out how in the world to do. I had like a looper pedal that I would pitch.
Okay.
That was kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah,
this is wild.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this particular guitar is like one, if you're familiar with the organizer pedal at all, it's just one guitar, but it's just the biggest sound I had ever been able to make. So I was like, I gotta just make a song out of this sound. It's just the craziest sound.
That's perfect, because I was going to ask about gear. We usually talk about gear, at least a little bit, and nothing's really jumping out at me in terms of like specific instruments. But do you have favorite gear, or is there something that you use on a lot of these songs that you really love?
Yeah. Well, first I'll say that makes me feel great that nothing's really jumping out at you as specific instruments, because I really love just kind of making things a little vague, sound-wise. Yeah, I mean, for this, I have a guitar that I really love, that I had a friend of mine built me, and it's basically the only guitar that I play. A guy named Danny Corwin, I don't know if you've seen any of his guitars. Builds great guitars. Yeah, pedal-wise, I feel like I really utilized the Flint reverb a lot. I love that pedal. I kind of go in and out with things like the organizer. Like, really, there's times when I really like the organizer or the freeze, or like kind of weird, like, and I'll go in like phases where I'll use it on everything, and then I will absolutely hate it and be like, okay, I'm just using this as a crutch. I have to pull it off of my board, or I'll use it on everything, but I use those. Love the Bog, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I don't own the amp that I used on this. This album was all recorded with like a deluxe reverb, and I've sold that since then. Now I have an AC-15 that I love. That was my quarantine buy, because I was like, man, I don't have an amp that can play loud enough that I want to play, so I'm gonna buy this amp.
Nice. Oh man, I wish I could say I had just one quarantine buy.
Yeah, that was my biggest quarantine vibe for sure. That was my quarantine music vibe.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So young to not know where you've been.
Man, this song I tried a billion different ways to write music to, and it was just like I don't know. I just think it mostly is better a cappella.
Did you have the arrangements, or did you just overdub?
No, yeah, it was one that I wrote just while we were on the road, just sort of in my head. So this was one that I wrote melody and arrangement and lyric all at once, and just went home and recorded it entirely as a vocal arrangement, and then tried to write music to it, which is the only time I've really ever done that, and it didn't work. I just kept the vocals pretty much.
Sometimes that's all. Yeah, just the core idea is all it takes.
That this is probably like an impossible question to answer, but I'll try anyway. You must have like a really, I mean, I can hear in the music, you have a really interesting ear and a really interesting kind of way of thinking about and editing your own stuff while you're writing and recording it. And I don't know, you may not be able to say anything about that. That might be completely intuitive, but if you can, I mean, how would you describe, or maybe the way to ask it is like, what's it like? So you've recorded this vocal arrangement, you're trying to put music to it, but it doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And what's the experience of that like, or how do you know, or where is it in your body that like, this isn't what I want it to be?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I think I guess it's probably somewhat similar to like, oh yeah, I forgot about this song. I guess it's somewhat similar to like the idea of what I was talking about is I was really dedicated at this point in time to like not letting myself. There were times when I felt like I was mailing it in, like with when I was trying to write. Like we got into such a habit writing with Cowboy that I felt like I could sort of like almost say like, well, this is what I would play here, if that makes sense. And so I was absolutely trying not to allow myself to have any fluff, which is a lot of pressure to put on yourself. But I feel like it produced pretty good music. But yeah, I think I would say that's one part of it. And then the other part would be, like I said, that I think earlier I mentioned like the sort of cinematic idea, and that's always been something I've been stuck in. It's like this. I wanted you to like. I love listening to music on headphones or like lights off, big speakers on a.
It's been awesome for that.
I always wanted. For me, it's like I want you to, at some point, feel like you're entering a movie, without really, not consciously thinking that way, but like at some point you kind of just lose yourself in the album and just whatever visuals are happening, that give it sort of a total cinematic feel is what I was going for. To the point where, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's the best way I could describe it. That sounds a little... I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound pretentious.
No, not at all.
No, not at all, man.
That makes perfect sense, actually. But you're like,
it's what I used to think about, or like, OK Computer is one of those records that I would put on, from start to finish, and just want to like, just lose myself like in that whole thing, and and I can see this record being that. I mean, I know you said that it's not necessarily the most uplifting, but to me,
neither is OK Computer.
That's a good point. Yeah. But I guess my point is I enjoy listening to music like that anyway. Yeah. So.
Well, and I feel like to be to really bring you into that fully cinematic experience, you have to have an arc. It can't just be, when I say a downer, it's like it can't just be beating someone down for every a whole song, multiple songs in a row. One thing I definitely thought a lot about was like, and maybe too much, I don't know, but like trying to earn the listener's trust as I would get deeper into the album. So it's like, like I feel like it starts with Blue Blood, which is sort of the, here's what you're heading into. Here's my worldview song, essentially, and then I go into like a poppier, catchier song that I feel like it still has, it has good depth, but I feel like I remember going into that feeling like I want to earn some trust in the listener to let me put them down some weirder rabbit holes, like something like Remedios, which I think was track 4, where it's like, okay, like when I first would play that for people, I remember like I would put it on and I would see people like literally either start laughing because that synth melody is just sort of so absurd at first, or like cringe a little bit, because it kind of grates at you. And I don't know, I kind of enjoyed the idea of like making something challenging to listen to, but if I could buy a little trust here and there along the path, to where it's like something like, if I can get you to stick through the first half of Remedios and trust me that I'll bring it around to something really cool by the end, but you need that first part to get to the second part. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I went way off of what you were asking me, Howie. I'm sorry. But
No, that was perfect. And actually, I mean, to kind of go back to the first part of the answer, it made complete sense that kind of what you're paying attention to is that feeling of being on autopilot, and learning to notice that feeling, and when you notice it, do something different.
Because just sometimes it's better to, like what I did a lot on this album was just shut stuff off. Like sometimes it's better to just mute. Like if you played, you played through 6 guitar tracks of layering stuff, and you're like, is any of this necessary? It's like, let's just shut them all off and see. And it was like, oh no, this is still a pretty good song just with vocals. So do I need the guitars? I guess not,
Yes, I think there a lot of times things are like that. Like Royce, you have that that quote on your screensaver. That's like cut away everything that doesn't look like David or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same concept, I think.
Less is more.
Yep.
It's funny because this album is so layered and stuff, so I feel like it's funny to say like I was going with that. I feel like that's my most common theme as a songwriter at this point is I'm trying to make something really minimal and I just can't seem to get there. Like this next album that I'm working on is probably equally as layered as this one, and I swear I was going into it like, okay, I'm gonna make as scaled down and sparse of a record as I can, and it just didn't happen. It's just not what happened.
This record is layered, but it's never busy.
Yeah.
And those are different things.
Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah, there's a ton of space for sure.
I love that last track, especially.
Yeah, and it felt like
Brian did that.
Almost like a departure, but not really.
Yeah.
Like it still kind of felt like the album, but just enough different to make you perk up and be like, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening right now?"
Yeah, that was my friend Brian. He used to perform under the name Lion around town.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that was the vocal tracks from Follow Chic. I just sent him all the stems from that, and he just gave it some energy, like a totally different look.
Outstanding. Man, I can't tell you enough. Like, honestly, in the last 5 years, this is tied with any record that I have as far as how many times I've listened to it. I've listened to this record so much.
Really? That's amazing, man. That makes me feel great. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those records that I would put on. Just, I want to listen to some music. Like I'm driving somewhere. Like, okay, I'm gonna put this record on. This is that next album that I'll do that for. I think just it's good.
I'll still have friends that'll just text me every once in a while and be like, "Man, I'm listening to this album. It's really good." Just
aren't those great?
Like,
those make it all worth
it, dude. It truly, yeah. It's one thing I've thought about when like waning on motivation, finishing this upcoming album. It's like, man, I'm probably really just gonna be like, my friends will be all that hears it at this point, But it's like, that's okay. Like, if you're proud of it and they enjoy it and you get those texts like you're saying, it's like, oh man, hey, thanks for making this. And it's like, okay, that's good. That's what I need.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, the musician in your life, send them a text, tell them you're listening to their stuff, and make it specific. Make it so that they know it's not smoke, right? Like say something that shows that you're actually listening to it. You will make their week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, truly, they will feel
for sure.
If they're 34 and struggling to find motivation to write a song, that might give them some motivation to say, oh yeah, I guess I can write a song. Now I'm not speaking. That's nothing close to home. I'm just making up a scenario.
No, it is, yeah, but it's a common scenario. It's 34, 44, 54.
Yeah, no doubt.
24.
No, I remember you were talking earlier about getting burned out, and when you said it, I really looked back and it's like, I did do a ton of music right before. I just felt like I didn't know what to say anymore,
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. You didn't know what to say. It's just like, okay, what,
Yeah.
I think also when you're younger, like, I don't know about you guys, like it's hard to conceptualize that things kind of go in phases, you know, like, because you haven't been around long enough to have a phase.
A phase,
So for me, it was just like, getting comfortable with the fact that, like, man, I might play less music than I used to for a couple of years, and that's okay. I still love music. I'll come back to it. It's important to me. You know what I mean? And even going, as you get older, you go through that with friends, where it's like, okay, you got one of your best friends, you may see them less for a couple of years, but you'll come back and there you are.
I love you, man.
Yeah. But it that was something, I don't know. I've always been like an on and off like I'm either going super hard at something or I'm not. And so figuring that out was like just tough. I was like, wait, have I just wasted my life, or what am I doing?
Man, that's the beauty for me in doing these podcasts, because I'm like, other people have these same thoughts. I thought it was just me.
Exactly. Right.
There should be musician therapy. Like, there really should. Because they just throw you in a bar at 20, and they're like, all right, there you go. Just do this for the next decade.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, well, that's not gonna make a good functioning person.
Very good point.
I think the Midwest Music Foundation does have resources for that. Just putting that out there for anyone who's listening that might be thinking the same. Midwest Music Foundation, and the Bridge talked a lot about it last week. So it definitely is thing, and there are resources out there. So
that's good.
It'd be cool to have someone from MMF on the show at some point. I don't know exactly what it'd be about, but we should note that down as an idea because that would be cool. I wanted to say, I mean, we definitely could do a better job, I think, as a culture of preparing people for lifelong music making and lifelong art, right? Like it doesn't have to end when you get out of school or when you get out of the bars or whatever. There's infinite possibilities, really, and
yeah, and you don't need to be on a label.
Yeah, you could just do it yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think for me, I definitely agree with that. So I don't want to sound like I'm disagreeing. I think for me, it was so much deeper than that. In that, like, I just like when there's a period of time where like you're around other people that are still like they're in college, they have no idea what they want to do. Like I don't know. There were so many people that I would meet that did not have a thing they loved. You know what I mean? And so to me, it was just like, well, I have this thing that I love, so I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. And that becoming, for me personally, myself, just identity, just absolutely intertwined with it. And so it's like, I don't know. I guess figuring out that, you know, maybe that's just a personal issue rather than a every musician thing. That's just like just because this is this thing that you, I don't know. I just remember, like I remember from a very young age. I was like, I don't even know, 6, like dancing to the Boys to Men 2 record, and I was like, okay, this is what I want. I don't even know what that means yet, but this is what I want. I love this so much. And so you go, you know, you continue to grow with only that as your focus, and along the way, you know, I assume you guys probably all got comments the same, that it was like people just saying something like, you know, like, oh, you're so lucky you have this thing that you love, or you're so lucky that you have music. I wish I was creative. I would, and so I think you internalize those things without realizing it, and it just, like I say, it became me. So then at some point, when you get to the point where you're like, man, I don't know if I want to do this, what does that mean? And
who am I? Yeah.
And it's like, well, I guess I got to figure that out.
I was 7 years old. It was a Saturday morning. Our old house faced towards the east, and we had these hardwood floors, and my mom had the radio on, and it was Michael Jackson, PYT came on, and I was dancing to it in like my Superman underwear and socks, and I was just like, I want to do this forever. You know what I mean? And that was the moment. After that, and it took forever to formulate like what it would look like or whatever, but I knew in that moment, 7 years old.
You just know. And it's crazy it's crazy how many people don't have that, and then also that doesn't even really matter. Like we all still roughly end up, and we all still get, you know, shot out and spit out into the world that we live in, and we got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it is great. Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that's interesting. You have almost the exact. I don't remember much about that moment, but I remember that moment. Just spinning around with a remote in my hand for my tape deck.
That's what's up.
So really, I mean, to bring it back to Worry, I mean, I hadn't thought about it this way before, but one interpretation of Worry is that it's a record about grief and mourning, really. Mourning a sense of self and mourning a loss, almost a death.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that for sure. That and just to me, it's just that album at times is just like the musical interpretation of anxiety. Like it feels like, it feels like I couldn't call it anything else besides Worry. There was no other. That's the only name for that album. Like, but yeah, it does feel like that. I hadn't really thought about it in terms of grief or a sense of loss. But yeah, that's true.
Now I made it a bummer.
No, I mean I don't know. I still find it. I guess that's part of what I'm proud of is I still find it like enjoy it. Like I find it joyful to listen to. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, yeah, and I think it's healthy to tap into those emotions, and that's why we all connect to it. You know, like we can identify with that feeling, and it's genuine. Like you said, there's no fluff there, so you know it can go right down to our bones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think there's also like for me, you know, like I grew up listening also in my like I guess high school years to like somebody like Conor Oberst, who I think is a really really great songwriter, but there were points and times when he just like wallowed in self-pity. And I think there's a difference between being like bummed out, like having a bummed out song from the perspective of trying to better yourself, as opposed to just like, oh man, I'm fucking up again. I'm a fuck up. Here I am. I'm a mess
Here's
up.
another song about me being a fuck up.
100%.
Yeah. And I think I escaped that on this record at least. Because that's really not where my perspective. Yeah. My perspective, it was entirely just like, man, I've got to be better than this. I've got to get better. Like I've got to figure myself out here. But yeah, I feel like there's a difference in that too.
Yeah, the album it definitely doesn't bum me out, or I wouldn't listen to it so much. I mean, it's it's not exuberant, but I don't go for it. I don't go to it for that. I go to it for sort of empathy, I guess, or I feel a connection to it. I feel understood. It's calming in a lot of ways, which, you know, contrasts maybe with some of the lyrics, but makes sense in terms of that connection and being kind of just being understood, having someone who feels like someone who made art that I see a piece of myself reflected in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that exuberant I would say is probably not. I agree is not what it is, but it was, that did make me think of like it was freeing. There's moments lyrically where I would write something and it would be I wouldn't even realize that's how I felt, and then I got it out and it's like that in it, that so there is sort of, I don't know if that's exuberance, but freeing is a good emotion too when you're lost in a swirling confusion. A little freedom is good, you know. So like
well, and you know, Howie had mentioned, you know, the textures and you know, and how some of the music contrast with the lyrics, which you know, I can see myself listening to it over and over just because of the textures and the way the music makes me feel, and even though it might contrast with some of what the lyrics are saying, you know, it's the same. You know, I mentioned OK Computer earlier, but it's the same with that. I mean, yeah, it's not the most uplifting record, but you know, I love the way, you know, the music sounds and the some of the things that were done with the recording, and then how you recorded, you know, some of the lyric and produced some of the music on there is what is gonna be, is why I'm gonna, you know, come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love records that you continue to find stuff. You know what I mean? Like through more listens. Like my favorite records, my favorite band of the last like probably 10 or 15 years is this band called Wild Beasts. And they, yeah, I'll go every year. I will have like a 1 or 2 month period where all I listen to is Wild Beasts, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't realize. I guess this is my favorite song. You know, I love that about music. So trying to achieve that. I don't know that I did, but that's that's always my goal. I like that about music.
Well, I'm
gonna
opening
try
up a
to
tab
wa-
for Wild Beasts. I can see Royce is doing
Yeah.
the same.
Oh
As
man,
am I. As
They're-
am I.
they're the best, man. Yeah, they are a little. They will take a little getting used to what they're bringing to the table vocally, I'll say, but like their nuance in their writing is just untouchable. I mean, they're so good. They're so good.
Right on.
Like, well, I would say, what's the name? Smother, I think, is their third record. Check that out. I mean, their second, third, and fourth records, all top to bottom, are too good for me to. I can't express my love for that band. I love them.
Awesome.
But yeah,
We've got something to look forward to then.
yeah.
We also have a new Bonzo Madrid record to look forward to sometime. No pressure or anything, but
Yeah, sometimes I
can't
gotta.
wait to have you back and listen to that one.
Yeah,
In the meantime, people can grab Worry at bonzomadrid.bandcamp.com. CJ, where else can people find you online or in real space?
in real space. Yeah, come find me at my house. No. You can find me at my jewelry store. No. Oh yeah, I'm a jeweler. I guess you guys probably don't know that about me. I'm
No.
a jeweler
No, I did
by
not.
trade.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's the only place I have the Bonzo music up right now. I probably should put it up on all the other streaming things, which I'll do eventually when I put the other album out. But I have a band with Alex and Austin Ward from the Noise FM and Hembry called Scores.
Oh yeah.
Which is I'm
Man.
really excited about that project. So that album is going to come out. In, I guess it's still May, so 2 months. It'll sometime in July. So I guess check that out. It's definitely a more musically upbeat vibe than Bonzo is.
There's the exuberance.
Yeah.
there it is.
The
There it
bridge.
is.
Yeah, there's a track on the bridge. What's the one you have out now? Right now.
We've got two. We've got one called Talk Flood.
That's
which
what it is. Yeah.
Kind of wild one with a sax.
Yeah.
It's the craziest sax solo I've ever heard. And and another one called Over Under. So those are available. We've got videos and you can find those on Spotify and everywhere. So definitely check that out. I'm really proud of how that stuff turned out as well. And I'm excited to hopefully, do an episode here with those guys too on that album.
Oh yeah,
That's
we'd
what's
love
up.
that.
Oh, that would be super fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully getting back to some shows.
Man,
at some
I hope
point.
one day. Yeah, those guys are out in California now, so I don't know. That'll
Right.
be my second album in a row that just might not ever play any shows. I guess that's what I do. But yeah, I would like to. I've been trying to talk to Danny, who I feel like is like my musical just soulmate. He's just we are so on the same page musically, and I know he just had a kid, and I'm getting ready to have a kid. So
Oh, congratulations.
We're on.
Yes,
Thanks, man.
congratulations.
I'm very excited.
Awesome.
So we're on a similar wavelength life-wise, so I'm hoping we can play some music and play some shows. I do miss playing a little bit. I really miss collaboration more than
Yeah.
anything.
Yes, that is exactly right. We've done a little bit over the past year, but it's fun to get together in person with people and just play.
Yeah. At some point, I definitely realized that it was not like just trying to write stuff by myself was not doing it for me anymore.
I hear you.
It's like, okay, this is just digging myself into a hole. But man, I hope I feel like the early part I was a little nervous at the beginning and just talked a lot. I hope that I didn't talk over you guys too much.
No, this has been great. This has been
yeah, man.
great.
We appreciate you coming on and digging up a past record for us, but it was just a really fun conversation, and I appreciate you coming on and being willing to kind of go deep on it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Appreciate you having me.
That's what we're here for. Thanks, CJ.
Yeah, it was fun getting to meet you guys digitally.
We'll see you again soon. I
Yeah,
hope.
for sure. Yeah, hopefully I get to see you out.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
It's been the Long Play Listening Party. Later, everybody.